Tens of thousands of people once lived their entire lives underground. No sunlight, no open sky, hiding from something so terrifying that going back up meant death. And here's the thing, nobody told us about them for over 2,000 years. Buried beneath the hills of central Turkey, there is a city, not ruins or just foundations, an actual full-on city with streets, bedrooms, kitchens, churches, wine cellars, and even schools. All of it carved into solid rock, going 18 floors straight down into the earth. This is Cappadocia, and right now we're going back to the very beginning, back to the 7th century BC, when mysterious people first picked up their tools and started digging. We're going to figure out who they were, why they went underground, and what life actually looked like inside one of the most insane underground structures ever built by human hands. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. Before we go underground, you need to picture the world above. Cappadocia sits in the middle of what is now Turkey, and in 800 BC, it looked like something out of a dream or a nightmare, depending on how you look at it. The landscape was filled with these tall, pointy rock formations called fairy chimneys. They shoot up from the ground like stone fingers, hundreds of them scattered across a flat, dry plateau. The rock under your feet here isn't normal rock. It's something called tuff, soft volcanic rock that was formed millions of years ago when the volcanoes in this region blew their tops and buried the land in thick ash. Over time, that ash hardened into something you could actually carve with basic tools. So you've got a landscape of soft, carvable rock located right in the middle of Anatolia, which at the time was basically the crossroads of the ancient world. Trade routes, armies, empires, all of them passed through here, and that meant one thing for the people living in Cappadocia: danger all the time. The people who first started carving into this rock were called the Phrygians. Most people have never heard of them, but these guys were a big deal. The Phrygians were an Indo-European people, meaning their language was related to Greek, Persian, and even Latin, who migrated to central Anatolia somewhere around 1200 BC. They'd come from the Balkans, crossed a narrow stretch of sea, and settled into this harsh, dry plateau. And they were not some small, scraggly tribe. At their peak in the 8th century BC, the Phrygian kingdom stretched from the Aegean coast in the west all the way to the city of Sivas in the east. They dominated most of central and western Anatolia. You might have heard of their most famous king, King Midas. Yes, that Midas, the guy from the myth about turning everything he touched into gold. There was a real King Midas, and he ruled Phrygia in the 8th century BC. He was powerful enough to rival the Assyrian Empire. He traded with the Greeks. He built a capital city called Gordium. By all accounts, Phrygia was thriving. But they had a problem. Actually, they had many problems, because their location put them right in the path of some of the most violent empires in the ancient world. Here's where things get dark. The Phrygians weren't just farmers and craftsmen. They were people living under constant threat. To the east, the Assyrian Empire was on the move. From the north, a group of brutal nomadic warriors called the Cimmerians was sweeping through Anatolia like a wave. Around 692 BC, the Cimmerians sacked Gordium, the Phrygian capital, and burned it to the ground. According to ancient legend, King Midas himself drank bull's blood and died rather than be captured. The Phrygian kingdom never really recovered after that. But here's what's fascinating. Even before the Cimmerians showed up, the people of Cappadocia had already started carving into the earth. Historians believe the initial digging started in the 8th century BC, possibly even earlier, because these people understood something very simple. If danger is coming from every direction above ground, go below it. The volcanic tuff in Cappadocia was soft enough to carve with iron tools. It was also strong enough that once carved, the chambers and tunnels didn't collapse. It was basically the perfect natural building material. And crucially, the temperature underground stays consistent, around 13 degrees Celsius or about 55 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. Cool in summer, warm in winter. For people storing food and livestock, that was invaluable. So they started digging. What began as small storage rooms and basic shelters slowly grew into something that no one had ever built. This might be the most mind-blowing part. The people who built these cities weren't just hiding, they were defending. Throughout the tunnels at Derinkuyu and the nearby city of Kaimakli, there are massive circular stone doors. These things are enormous, some weighing over half a ton, and they're disc-shaped like giant wheels. They were designed to roll across the tunnel entrance and lock from the inside. From the outside, they were virtually impossible to move. An invading army trying to push through these tunnels would find themselves completely blocked. And here's the clever part. The stone doors had small holes in the center. Not for decoration, those holes were for spears. If someone tried to push the door from the outside, the defenders on the inside could push spears through the hole and kill them. Attack while completely protected by solid rock. These weren't scared people cowering in the dark. These were people who had engineered a military fortress underground. Here's something that really needs to sink in. Derinkuyu isn't alone. Cappadocia has around 200 underground cities. 200. 40 of them have at least 3 levels. They were connected to each other through underground tunnels. Derinkuyu and Kaimakli, for example, are linked by a tunnel that stretches 8 to 9 kilometers, or about 5 to 6 miles, underground. Think about that for a second. There was an underground highway network connecting separate underground cities. If one city came under attack, people could move through the tunnel system and resurface somewhere else entirely. These weren't just hiding spots. This was infrastructure. This was a civilization that had built an entire parallel world beneath the one we know. Since 1985, Derinkuyu and Kaimakli are World Heritage Sites, recognized as some of the most important examples of ancient engineering on Earth.
The Phrygians started it, but they weren't the last ones to use these cities. After the Phrygians, the region passed through the hands of the Lydians, then the Persians, then the Greeks under Alexander the Great. Each group that came to Cappadocia encountered these tunnels and, rather than fill them in, kept digging deeper. By the time early Christians arrived in the 4th century AD, they had inherited a ready-made underground world. They added chapels, carved Greek inscriptions into the walls, and expanded the rooms. During the Arab-Byzantine Wars between 780 and 1180 AD, tens of thousands of Christian people fled back underground to escape Muslim Arab raids. The cities were used again and again by generation after generation, always for the same reason: survival. Even in the 14th century, when the Mongol conqueror Timur swept through the region, people descended back into those same tunnels the Phrygians had carved 2,000 years earlier. As recently as 1909, a Cambridge researcher recorded that Greek-speaking locals took refuge underground when news of massacres in the region reached them. The last time the underground cities of Cappadocia were truly abandoned was 1923, after a population exchange between Greece and Turkey forced the Christian inhabitants to leave. The tunnels went quiet. Then in 1963, entirely by accident, a man renovating his home knocked through a wall and found a mysterious room. Further exploration revealed that his house sat directly above the tunnel network. Derinkuyu was rediscovered, and by 1969 it was open to visitors. So, what is the story of Cappadocia's underground world really about? It's not just about tunnels or rocks or ancient engineering tricks. It's about what human beings do when the world above them becomes too dangerous to survive in. It's about a group of people, the Phrygians, who looked at a soft volcanic landscape, a brutal geopolitical situation, and said, "We're not running, we're going down." They built kitchens, schools, stables, wine cellars, and churches. They drilled ventilation shafts. They designed doors that could stop armies. And what they started was used by civilization after civilization for nearly 3,000 years. That's not just history. That's one of the most remarkable survival stories ever told. And most of it happened underground, in the dark, when nobody could see it.